All right. So we're here with the man himself, Jason Phillips. What's up, man?
How's it going, dude?
Yeah, thanks for coming. I think you and me, we've really just communicated mostly over like social.
I think so. It's almost all Facebook. This is the first time
we've
we met.
never met in person.
No, sir.
And then we were able to kind of make it happen.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me down.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I saw a post. I want to start with this. So I saw a post the other day, and I think the first thing I read, someone sent it to me.
Yeah.
I thought this was perfect for the podcast, and it said, I stepped out.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's under the wraps right now, but I want to start with that question. Like, what's going on in the business? What are you doing?
Yeah. So I've taken a long, hard look at what we're doing. So for backstory, anybody that doesn't know who I am, I own Nutritional Coaching Institute, right? And so we have two separate sides. We have the nutritional education side, certifications, like you're a coach, you're somebody that wants to be in the space.
Right.
We certify you. And I've always been of the belief there's three skills everyone needs to be wildly successful in this space. Skill one is you have to be able to create change. Like you got to actually be good at what you do, right? Two, you got to know how to monetize that skill. So you need to know how to accept money for your ability to create change. But you and I both know like selling and transactional sales, that's not a business, right? So skill three is like building the business.
Right.
I think that the state of our industry has everybody trying to play business coach. And at the current moment, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like where it's going. I don't like what a lot of people are doing. And there's people that are doing it well. And those people need to be like the people.
Yeah.
And so I look at what we have, the single biggest asset we have, which is our certifications.
Yeah.
And so I'm completely stepping out of the business coaching space. Like done, like out.
So
I have 110 clients right now. I'll work with them until they don't want to work together anymore.
Wow.
But every ounce of focus for my team and myself is twofold. One is we're going to teach the skill of transformations. We're going to get people certified. And then we're going to teach them the low dollar skills of like, how do you monetize that? Like, how do you make your first dollar? And then like, dude, there's a lot of people like yourself that we'll just refer out to and be like, when it's time to build a business, cool. Like go to these people, we'll vet them. Like we'll be cool with it. And like, there's so many reasons. I'm happy to dive into why it's the right move, but there's like, like I haven't talked about this publicly. It's literally the first time.
No, I know. That's exactly why I wanted to ask you. So when you say certified, where my head goes immediately is I'm thinking like NASA and ISCA and like all this. So why would someone, and that's why I'm asking is like, why would someone get, is that what your certification will be like? And why would they get a certification from you versus like NASM or something like that?
So, okay. So take you back 2016. So yes, that is the certification, by the way. Like NASM, PN, shit like that. Right. Take you back to 2016. I had a one-on-one coaching business. I was like one of the first in the space to get to multi-million, right? So in 2016, I was doing 2+ like annual and had a team of like 16 coaches. Like I was doing it for it was cool. And it was, and someone's like, dude, like your impact's bigger than that. Like you got to teach people to do what you did. And I was like write a cert. And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, bro, PN, like everyone knows nutrition, go to PN. And they're like, figure it out. Like that was the advice. Yeah. I had like a 6-hour drive from California to Arizona. I was living in Arizona at the time. Right. And I was like, all right, we got 6 hours. We'll figure it out. Halfway through, I was like, I got it. Like, I'm not smarter than anyone. There's people like Lane and Alan and like all the geniuses. Right. Like, I'll never be them.
But Lyle McDonald, I remember him. He's crazy though.
Bro, he's crazy. He's legit crazy. Like shout out to Lyle. I think he knows he's crazy.
He's super good, but he was like, I remember I'd be scared to ask a question in his group. It's like body recomposition.
Everyone online. Like any forum he was fighting. Guaranteed. But I was like, I'll never be them. Like I don't want to be the research nerd. Like that's not who I was. But I was like, what I'm really good at is application. I'm really good at like taking what we know and like making it digestible for people. And like the average coach, they don't go out and they don't engage in the space because they don't have the confidence to actually help people. They're like, well, what if I take money and I don't know how to help this person? And it's like, so it's the skill of confidence, right? And so I recognize that there was endless educational entities. And if we're being super honest, like, and I love PN and JB and I are good friends, like it's nothing you can't find on Google. Right. Like every textbook is on Google. Right. So it's like, okay, they've taken that info, they've synthesized it, they've cited it, they've put it in a textbook for you to understand. The problem is no one needs more knowledge. Like the world doesn't need more knowledge. They need to know how to use that knowledge. And nobody had ever attempted that in certification. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm going to teach that. And like literally, dude, that drive, I got into my house in Arizona, didn't even take the bags out of my car. I like drove, like ran to my office, wrote out all the chapters. It never changed. Like it was so clear in that moment. To this day, so it's like 7 years later, curriculum hasn't changed.
And just so I'm clear on the curriculum, it's teaching them how to train, like teaching them how to do nutrition,
how to be a coach in the space.
Like do it properly.
Yeah, like this is how you actually create a result. Because if you don't create a result, I don't give a shit. how good your sales and marketing is.
Right.
You're just shining a flashlight on a business that sucks.
Of course. So, and then when people pay for this, obviously like we know about high ticket, and for people who are listening, 3,000 usually plus, et cetera. So is this going to be more of like a low ticket model or a high ticket model?
So, I mean, to get into the business side of it, I still think we have the average LTV will still be north of 5-6K. So I guess low-ish mid-ticket,
but
right?
Still decent. Yeah.
Not high by any means. Yeah. I would say someone's probably going to max out at around 10, 11K. Because we do have 4 different certifications. We have 4 different master classes. And then we have like the low ticket, get your business off the ground program. So we do have a significant number of products. We are going to introduce a continuity piece. So there is like a membership component that will piece of the super low ticket. But honestly, man, like the TAM is huge, right? Like there's endless amounts of personal trainers. Yeah. Nobody wants to trade dollars for hours in the gym. Yeah. They need the skill that will allow them to go online, which is being really good.
And that's what it's mostly about then. So it's mostly about
skill development, man.
So it's online certification.
Well, I mean, if you want to use it in brick and mortar, like if you want to, like, Brad Jensen, the silver bodybuilder. Like we certified Brad, and Brad built a brick and mortar in Utah where he had like 7 coaches. People would come to the office and they just did one-on-one nutrition consulting in the office.
Wow.
And like, so it works brick and mortar. Like, I mean, I think long-term we'll see gym owners like Kale and I have had conversations. I think gym owners will probably have somebody get certified. They'll have in-house nutrition consulting in the gyms.
Yeah.
I think you'll see chiros do it. Like, I think it'll be a thing, right? That will grow, but I mean, the skill is versatile. And again, like for me, I look at it, the TAM is huge.
No, I mean, I've looked at that. I guess, so 2 questions come from that. So the first is there must be a massive audience of trainers who it just must stem from they don't have any confidence. And so the certification in my mind, the way I view it, I love that as a selling point because they probably view that as it's legit because it's certified versus let's say they took a business coaching program. Like, it's not certified, right? Is that kind of how they view it? It's
a lot of people want the paper, which is like, which is crazy.
A degree. It's like a college degree almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we look around, like you've got like the Russell things, right? Yeah. Like, I got my 2 comma club. It's like, I'm a legit funnel person, right? Like, but people, they want the paper. And, I think for us, we approach it differently too. Cause I was like, all right, if I'm going to certify you, if I'm going to put my company's name on your back, you have to show me something more than like your ability to recite in a multiple choice format. So like our test is not a test. Our test is actually a case study. So like anybody that goes to NCI, it's like, yo, you got to do 3 case studies. Like you got to actually work with people. You got to show us like how you built the protocol. You got to show us communication structure. You got to show us that you're competent in being a coach.
Wow.
Like I don't give a how smart you are, dude. Like anybody can go to Google, search for answers.
Right.
Matter.
Of course.
But like if you're competent in the proficiency, like in the act of being a coach, like good, then you can actually create change.
So how long were you a trainer? Because this sounds to me like it sounds to me like you were a trainer way longer than I was. Because macros and all this, but it sounds like you're really deep in the science. Like how long did you do that?
So I started 2019. So like I was anorexic, bro. Like so.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah. So I started as anorexic, and I found my nutritional info like everyone else in the magazines, right? Like and so like 2019, it was my pediatrician. He was like, "Yo, study all the magazines," because I just wanted to get abs, right? Like that was my whole thing. I was going to be an Abercrombie model.
Yeah.
And they were like,
that's how I started. I was that guy. I was that guy.
No, bro, I was in Abercrombie, and like the recruiter, like she gave me her card. She's like, "Send me pictures of your abs."
Yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, I eat burgers every day. I don't have abs. So like, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I asked my pediatrician. He was like, it's all nutrition. Like, read the magazines. And like, all I read was like, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this. And I was, before I knew it, I was anorexic, dude. I was 118 pounds.
Oh my God.
5'10", 118.
It's like hard to picture you like that right now.
And most people are like, no, you were never that tiny. Like, and I was already small. Like, I was skinny fat. Like, I was like 130 graduating high school, eating whatever I wanted. So like, I wasn't a big kid.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, man, I was anorexic, and I was like, all right, I want to overcome this. And it was like, I would argue anybody that's been down that rabbit hole has some level of obsession. I won't like go into I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to go in the nature of it, but I think there's some level.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I had this massive obsession to learn everything about food, dude. And I was on every forum online. I would read everything I could get my hands on. And like, I remember like, I was like, why am I so like, why at the time I was making more money than Lane. And I was like,
and this was just a couple years ago, 2019.
Like this was like 2015. 2015.
15. Okay. I thought you said 2019. Like,
no,
wow.
I was 19 years ago, but like 2015, 2016, like I was doing more than all of the big names.
Right. Okay.
Like I was I was making more money from coaching than any of them.
Right.
And I was like, why? Like Lane's way smarter than me.
Yeah.
Like Alan's way smarter than me. And I was like, why am I making so much more money? And then I was like, oh, I'm better in the practice.
Right.
I'm a better coach. And I was like, and there was like components of connection, there was components of access, there was components of like building out longer term programs. And like, I was like, okay, I get it. Like I get being a coach better than 99.9% of people. The crazy part is, so like Lane spoke at our event a couple weeks ago and he was like, dude, he's like, if you would have asked me back in 2015, the shit you were talking about, he's like, I would have called. He's like, I would have been like, there's no way that being a coach and human behavior matter that much.
Yeah,
he's like, you just can tell people what to do and they do it. And I was like, what do you think now? And he's like, it's 99% human behavior. And I'm like, crazy. Yeah. And now Lane's crushing.
Well, and he's super like scientific, very like into the research. Like him,
and he'll even tell you it's human behavior now.
Right.
It's wild. It's wild. So like, I just learned that first, man. Like we figured it out before everyone. It's what allowed our cert to come in. And now the cool thing is it's coming full circle. So like Bill Campbell recently came to me. He's like, bro, he's like, I've looked at everything. He's like, yours is the best. Alan, like,
it's amazing.
Alan Aragon wants to come in and he
those
like,
are
wants to talk about.
Those are the guys I look at. Like
those are the guys we look up to.
Look at. Yeah, 100%.
So it's like props to them for being open to something different. Like they come to the event, they speak, they drop the knowledge, but they've always been super cool about seeing the industry slightly differently.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm grateful to have some of their support. And so now it's like, I just see the next couple years like this is.
I think that's the right.
We
move.
have something completely unique.
I think that's the right move. Yeah. Even when you said that, like the direction you're going. I mean, I'm in a similar direction, not like that, but the comments you're making about the space, and I'm in 100% agreement. Okay, so last question on this, and we'll move on. Is from what I understand, getting certified and accredited is a total nightmare.
Yes.
Right. So okay, so walk me through that process because that. I mean, I've seen it all the time, but to become NASM, from what I'm seeing, excuse me, it just seems like a total show.
So there's certain levels, there's certain layers, right? So anybody can put out a certification, and like you could tomorrow be like the Tanner Nutrition certification, and I'm Tanner Nutrition certified. Okay. Nobody's gonna give a fuck, right? But correct. But you're saying me and whatever I represent, I back it. And so like when NCI first started, that was it.
Okay,
like, we were just the entity. Now we have gone since to all of the educating bodies, so the NASMs, the NSCAs, and we've said, hey, here's our curriculum. Do you approve this?
Correct.
They've said yes. They're like, we'll put our stamp of approval. We'll validate CEUs. So people that have the NASMs, NSCAs, they can get continuing education by going through our shit.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Now, national accreditation, completely different.
Is that where you're going for?
And so I'm in between, if I'm being honest. Okay. So we've started the research, and we have actually internally started making moves towards it. But I've also begun seeing other programs that are nationally accredited, and I understand the curriculum. And there's a reason that nationally accredited curriculums are the way they are, because you have to fulfill certain requirements. Okay. And I'm not sure I agree with those requirements. Okay. So I'm like 50-50. I understand the power because now we could accept GI Bill. Now we could accept student loans. And like when you think about the finance behind it, it's like we could crush.
Exactly.
But I don't think I want to sell out and change my curriculum
to fit
so
like
it's
what they're
like,
saying. Yeah.
So there's like a middle ground.
But I think, so I'm assuming then based on what you're saying, as long as you can get the accreditation from like NASM and all those, that's really what people are like, oh, you're legit.
That's the big one.
Okay.
Yep. And we crossed that off in like year one.
Perfect. Okay. No, that was amazing. That was like the biggest thing I wanted to ask you. That was perfect. Yeah. Okay, so you talked about anorexia. Just a little bit about that. What, you said this was 19 years ago, you said?
Yeah.
So what kind of took you down that path, and then how did you pull yourself out? Because from my experience, when I've met or I have people I care about who have anorexia, man, it's like nothing you say gets through almost.
It's crippling.
So like walk me through that.
So, okay, 2002, I was 18.
Yeah.
All I cared about my senior year of high school was golf. So I was a golfer. I didn't even go to school like Monday and Friday. Like we traveled, I played golf tournaments. Like, and I was a very highly ranked amateur.
Right.
And so after school, got my first injury. So I couldn't go to college on scholarship. Got my first injury, was like in the rehab setting, kind of in like a depression because I'm like, what the fuck am I actually going to do? And this Abercrombie model, while I'm in Abercrombie, was like, hey, you should model for us.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. 18 years old, like can't play golf. I'm going to be an Abercrombie model. Women will love me. Men will respect me. This is amazing, right? And so then it's, well, how do I get abs? And so I asked the doctor. He's like, it's nutrition. I go in like the research rabbit hole, and before I know it, I'm eating less than 800 calories a day, and I'm doing upwards of 2 hours of exercise a day,
That's
and
crazy,
holding it
dude.
as a trophy. And so I actually never clinically knew I was anorexic until I had gotten to the other side, and I was sitting in a nutrition class at George Mason University, and they start talking about characteristics of eating disorder people, and I'm like,
Like,
holy,
that's
they're
me.
describing me. And I was like, I was anorexic, and it had never hit me. So then I went home and I like told my mom, and I was like, like I was like, I think I was anorexic. She's like, you were 48 hours away from a clinical intervention. She's like, you were like literally on a Tuesday, for whatever reason, I started eating, and she's like, we were scheduled with your doctor Thursday to like clinically intervene.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
was like, what? So like it had been a secret to me, and I was like, man. So like I look back at it. The way I overcame it was actually this train. So I was working the front desk at Gold's at the time. And there's this bodybuilder that would come in every day, and he was a bantamweight, so like he wasn't huge,
Right.
but he was like jacked, and he was like
Sure.
a couple weeks out of a show, so
Sure.
just shredded. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to look like
Yeah.
that, right? And she's like, well, I do his nutrition and training, and I was like, can you do mine? She's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, what do I do? She's like, eat 4,000 calories a day, bro. Eating less than 800. She's like, you need to eat 4,000, and I'm like, okay. And so this is like 2002. So no MyFitnessPal, none of that shit. So like Barnes
Right.
and Noble it is, man. Calorie counting book, start writing out handwritten meal plans every night.
That's
Kind of like
probably
I
why
saw
you're so
like
good at what you do.
100% because I was obsessed. And so I was like, all right, I started writing them out. And so every day I had a 4,000 calorie meal plan written out the night before, all the meals prepped. Like I was neurotic. And a couple weeks later, I was like, I'm not fat. I remember I was like looking in the mirror as I'm opening up Gold's Gym at like 4:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm not
Wow.
fat. I'm like, this food thing, it's not that bad. And so then there was layers of learning, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately I went to Florida State, and like, you know, eating 4,000 calories at home and eating 4,000 calories as a college kid, completely different. Like spending your nights as like at home and spending your nights with like other college kids that are drinking and
Yeah.
partying, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget like the first night I went out and I had a drink. I was like, oh, I ruined it all. I'm gonna be fat. Woke up the next morning, like ran to the mirror. I was like, I'm not fat.
You
Okay.
probably look
I was
pretty
like, I'm
good
safe.
because you get dry.
I got really
At
dry.
first.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look pretty
I was like,
good.
knowing what I know now, it actually probably was really good. And then like I'll never forget like the first drunken night of pizza. I was like, oh man, I fucked it all up. Like ran to the bathroom the next morning. Oh, I'm not fat. And so like, bro, to this day, 39 years old, I could tell you what foods make me look worse. So like example, I love Cheesecake Factory dessert. Love it. Like
Yeah.
you know, peanut
I,
butter cup cheesecake, bro. It's my jam.
I've bought in a whole cheesecake multiple times
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I get it.
I
Like
ate a
I
lot.
feel you. So, but I can tell you the next day I will be as watery as can be. Like it is one of the worst foods.
Yeah.
I could tell you Domino's pizza
Yeah.
and breadsticks and cinnamon sticks, I'll be shredded tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, like, and it's just like it's the neuroses I still have. And so we talk about eating disorders. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a registered dietitian, so I
Sure.
can't speak clinically
Sure.
about it. I can only speak from personal experience.
Sure.
But from personal experience, I can tell you that I don't believe anybody actually overcomes an eating disorder. I think you learn to channel it better. And so I spoke at Jen Gottlieb's event 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and this girl like raised her hand, and she's like, I'm just like you. Like I'm the former fat kid, and like somebody like my ex-boyfriend told me I was fat, and like I have this body image thing. And
Mhm.
so I just gave her my 2 cents. And like this woman stands up and she's like, well, I'm a eating disorder specialist, and you can overcome this. And I was like, okay, like fair, right? I'm not the
Yeah.
clinical person, but I can only tell you my experience, which is at 39 years old today, I still battle body
Yeah.
image shit. And I've been pretty open
Yeah.
about it.
To be honest, I went through the modeling phase and all that, and
Yep.
I'm not nearly, as big and shredded as I was, but I mean, I agree with you. Like,
Yep.
I still think about it. When I'm like
Yeah.
like I was traveling last week and I wasn't eating as healthy, I come back, I'm like, I could lose a few pounds.
Yep.
Like, I think once you've gotten to very low percentage body fat, it's just hard to
It's
see
hard.
yourself, even at 10 or 15, like 15%, you're like, I'm fat.
Yeah.
Like 15% to me, I'm like, oh, that's a lie.
I don't think I've seen 15% in my life.
Yeah.
If I'm being quite
like
honest.
usually I try to stay no more than 10. Like,
Yeah.
and probably it gets a little over. So like if I got like a DEXA scan, it's probably like, 12, 13.
Yeah.
But, to most people, if you're looking at one of those images, and it's like 5, 10.
I don't think in 20 years I've lost visible abs.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. So like the nutritionist in me knows if I would be willing to put on body fat, I would probably feel better.
Yeah.
I'd probably sleep better. I'd
Yeah.
probably have more energy.
Yeah.
I would probably like I know these things.
Yeah.
And it's what I would tell my clients.
Yeah.
But being able to do it, it's hard, man.
Oh yeah.
Like being able to wake up in the morning and be like, all right, I'm eating a lot, I'm training less, I'm stressing less, like I can do that.
Yeah.
And so like I get it, right?
Yeah.
So it's also why I think I was a really good coach, because I empathize with clients. I'm
Oh,
like, I get
100%.
it. Like this is what we know to be true, but here's what we're willing to do. And like I have wild stories, bro. Like I have like a chick that I worked with out of Chicago where she would get blackout drunk Friday, Saturday. And for like 6 months, bro, like we battled. Like I was like, why the like I would like I'd play like the whole like, hard ass coach. Like, what the are you doing this? Like, why do you need
Yeah.
to get blackout drunk? Why can't you just have 2 drinks? And then finally I'm like, yo, like it's part of your life. I get it. And like the minute that like we did that and we just were like, all right, like you're going over by 4,000 calories. So like let's subtract that from the rest of the week and like let's just play the game of math and deal with it. Like she started losing weight. And I was like, all right, I empathize. Like I get it. Like that's your jam. Okay. And like, I mean, I've got crazy stories of
There's no
clients of like,
rules. I mean,
there's
that's the
no
thing.
rules.
There's
Like
no
that's the
rules.
crazy thing. And I was like, and I think that honestly, that's what allowed us to like set apart in the cert side is I was like, all right, I'm not going to play by the traditional rules. Like I'm going to talk about life, and I'm the person that almost, because I was suicidal when I was anorexic. So like, I'm the person that almost lost their life from it. And I'm like, I'm going to change lives with it now.
Okay, so walk me through this. We're gonna switch gears. Obviously, I've known this for a while. Your portfolio with the Hormozis.
Yeah.
Just walk me through that process. What's it like? If someone's thinking about it. I mean, what is that whole process like? How's it been? What's a day to day? What happens inside? What's behind the curtain, basically.
So all right. So first of all, I'll let you know how it happened.
Sure.
So I'm a big believer. Just pay to get in the room. Like principle number one in like Jason Phillips' School of Growth. Pay to get in the room. I don't give a shit if you have the money. If you don't have the money, get in the room. Like network is everything. Like it's why I was really excited, honestly, to come down here and hang with you.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be friends. Like we'll do lots of shit together beyond fitness. Like
of course.
And so I'm a big networking guy.
Well, and and to be transparent, I mean, that's when I see you align with Alex, I admire Alex. I'm friends with Alex.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, I know who Alex and Leia align with. He must be okay.
Sure.
Right? He must be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where my mindset goes. Immediately.
Yeah. And so Alex, I don't know if you remember, he used to talk about these $50,000 consulting days.
Yeah.
It was like 3-4 years ago. He'd talk about it all the time. Yeah. So I sent him a message on Facebook and I'm like, yo, you talk about all these $50,000 consulting days. Where do I send the money? Not even like, how do I book? I'm like, where do I send the money? And he's like, I don't do those anymore. I only work on equity. And I was like, within seconds, I wrote back. I was like, all right, how much you want? And he was like, you're serious, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And so like at the time, Dr. Cashew was considering doing something similar to like what we did. And he was like, it might be a conflict because Alex and Trevor are like best friends and like respect.
Yeah.
Actually, like we've since become friends with Trevor and he's amazing.
Trevor, he seems extremely intelligent.
So smart.
Extremely
dude. And
intelligent.
Incredibly nice. Like one of the nicest guys. Gentle giant. Yeah. But like, so he's like, I'll hit you in a few weeks. I'm like, sure. And like credit to Alex. He hit me back like 3 weeks later. He's like, all right, like we're clear. Like no conflict. He's like, let's schedule a Zoom. And he told me he was building this thing called acquisition.com. Yeah. Because this is pre-portfolio.
Oh, wow. This is even before it comes out.
And so he's like, this is what I'm building. I just bought the URL. Like, this is the vision. And he's like, are you interested? And I'm like,
spent like $300,000 on the keyword.
I know, bro. But look how it's paid off. And then now do you see some dickhead bought acquisitions?
And
they're
I've seen
promoting
those ads.
business courses.
I've seen those ads.
Some idiot, dude. But dude, somebody the other day is promoting Hormozi sales. And so they took his picture and made an Instagram.
I take screenshots of the ads where they talk about Alex. Like it was one, it was like, instead of $100 million leads, do this. And I take it and I'll start typing like, I was typing funny stuff. And basically I screen recorded. I sent it to Alex and he just laughed.
It's hilarious, dude. But so anyway, so he tells me this and I'm like, all right, like I'm in. And so I think he signed one other company, the picture company that he talks about all the time. He signed them first. He signed us second.
Wow.
And,
I didn't know you were that early.
And so then it was like, cool. Like, what do we do? And so my experience was probably different because I think they were finding their footing too.
Sure.
But I think that's the best time to get into anything.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's the most like intimate, right?
Yeah.
So like I got to fly and they had this house rented in Bear Lake, Idaho. And we did like a weekend there and just dove deep and like uncovered everything. And we were like, cool, like here's all the holes and here's the things that need to be filled. And man, it's been great. Like, since coming out of it, they've been the most supportive people in the world. Yeah. I think a lot of people would say like, I don't need a lot of hand holding. Yeah. So like, I would actually say that they probably would tell you I don't use them enough because I don't want to bother people and I don't feel like I need to ask you 10 million questions. Yeah. Now, that being said, when I need to ask a question, they're there for it. Yeah. I think the coolest part has just been getting to feel like they're truly a part of the network, and they make me feel like I'm truly a part of their network. And again, like I'm a big fan of being in the room. So like whenever we're out there and like we have dinners with them, it's just like becoming that person that you want to be.
Right.
It's like I'm
Right.
in that like right now. And it's like
Right.
there's no amount of money that I would not trade to be like in that setting, because I think it's forced me to level up every area of my life. Like not just business. And I think that what everybody would be most surprised about is I thought, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna learn like a ninja bit, like marketing, sales. Like, bro, for the first year and a half, we didn't even talk marketing and sales. For 18 months, and we grew from like 4 million to 12 million. And like we didn't talk marketing and sales, not once. And everyone's like, "How the fuck did you triple?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was like all the other stuff. It was all the infrastructure stuff, teams, like ascension models. Like that was when it got real." And I was like, "Oh,"
Wow.
like, and it forced me to look at business differently. Admittedly, I was very transactional in the like get a customer, get money, get more customers, get more money, and like there's a cap on that. I think like we all understand that, and so they forced me to look at it through a different lens, and that's what's been amazing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I love that you got in so early is, at least from my talks with Alex, like
Yeah,
they seem like they've shifted a little
they
bit for the
have.
companies they're taking on. And so, I mean, this opportunity might not even have been here at this point.
I'm not sure they would take. Like I'm thinking present day, I'm not sure they would take me.
Right.
Now, like financially, we make enough money.
Yeah.
But like I'm not sure we're the type of company they would
It's the
want.
shift. And like from my conversation, I think you and me understand the bottlenecks and stuff like that. I think that's why you're making a shift, and I've been public about kind of making a shift. But I'd agree with you. I would even say it's interesting you said that, because I probably would have even maybe possibly gone that route, because I'm very much in alignment with you. The thing that with the Hermosis is like I'm always very careful what I ask. Because you're probably the same way. People lean on them so much. I never want it to come off as it's
Bingo.
What is it? A bit like a business. It's just like, hey, Alex, what advice can when it comes off that way, I feel like it really damages the relationship. And I'm more like you, where it's just I want to be around those people doing big shit, because that's what gets me going and excited, right?
So one of my good friends is Mike Nelligan, and he was the former CMO at Vayner Sports. And so, like, I golf with him, and I'm like, "Tell me what Gary's like." And he's like, "Gary is Gary because everyone owes Gary a favor." And he's like, "Gary's staff is basically Gary's favor doers."
Yeah.
And he's like, so Gary goes out, he builds these relationships, and he's like, all right, goes to his staff, and he's like, do this for this person, do this for this person. And all they do all the time is they fucking do things for people.
Interesting.
And he's like, the reason everybody loves Gary is because they feel indebted to Gary. He is literally like, he is who he says he is through all of his media, in the sense that like he goes out and he just does shit for people.
It's just service.
And so that's how I view it, is like, yo, what can I do for you? Like when I look at Alex and Layla, like
so
they're my mentors. Like they get a percentage of what we make, and like openly, it's out in the open. Like everybody knows
it's
that.
a lot.
But and it's a lot of money. But I look at the relationship like, what can I do for you? How can I, like, dude, I've gone on the phone with multiple prospective portfolio companies, and I'm like, what do you need to know? How can I make this easy decision for you?
Yeah.
Like, we'll go to Vegas. Like, what can I do? Like, dude, like, I went to Jen Gottlieb's event 2 weeks ago, right? Like I said earlier, and I show up and they're like walking me around. I'm like, great. Like, I don't speak for 5 hours. Put me to work. What do you want me to do? They're like, are you kidding me? They're like, you're a speaker. They're like, make yourself at home. I'm like, no. Like, put me to work. I get it. Like, you're probably understaffed. It's tight. Like, what do you want me to do? And like, when I left, Jen and Chris messaged me. They're like, my staff loved you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but like, I was just being a human.
When did you have that shift though? So most people aren't going to understand that, but I've recently gone through that, where I'd say when I left, I don't know if I told you this or not, but the last 6 months when I traveled, I was probably the most miserable I've ever been.
Yeah, you did.
And the reason I was, when I finally realized I was only thinking about myself all the time.
Bro, I haven't talked about this publicly, but I'll share some.
Yeah, please. Talk, I want to know when you made that shift, because like what I've seen, the irony that a lot of people don't understand that I've seen is the more selfless you are, the irony is the more you help others, you start getting all the selfish shit you want. But the irony too is then you get it and you're like, oh, I don't really want this stuff in the first place.
Wild. It's crazy. So this time last year, we were almost completing an exit. So most people didn't know that like we had gotten an LOI, we'd gone into diligence, like had agreed on a number. We were almost done. We were 45 days away. And diligence, the motherfucker, as I'm sure you know.
Of course. It's like a year, right? That takes that like was it a year?
We were going on month 7. So
not horrible.
Original LOI said close in 90 days.
Right. Yeah. Never.
But so we were at this point, and all I gave a shit about was revenue. All I woke up thinking about every day is how much money are we making? Because it's like
for the deal.
The deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to show them numbers. I've never been more miserable.
Yeah.
Ever. Like I've hated what we were doing. I was so burned out. I was just like, what the fuck are we doing right now? And it showed, dude. Like, honestly, like I'm so grateful that some of my staff is still here. Because they all could have left. And I would have, at this point in my life, been like, yo, like respect, I get it.
Yeah.
Because I was a shitty leader. I was a shitty boss.
Yeah.
And like, all I gave a shit about was that. And so then we pulled the plug late November, early December. And I was like, I'm just going to be happy. And like, we're going to be okay. And it took me probably.
This is recent. This
is like in the last year. Yeah, this is like less than 12 months ago.
Wow.
And so it took me probably 7 or 8 months to come back from that. And I would actually argue, like, until we made this switch less than a week ago, I don't think I found happiness again. Like, I really have just kind of been operating out of a place of like necessity.
Yeah.
And I think even like my team would tell you, I think that like Brittany, who's here, would tell you, like, I don't think I've been happy, dude. Like until then. Like I think that that's like the first time where I was like excited to go to work again. Like I'm excited now to be like, yo, NCI is
right.
Like, and there's a lot of reasons and like there's a lot of things that open up, but like, yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I think that placing an emphasis on this like external outcome that is just not why we ever got like I don't think anyone in the world becomes a nutrition coach and they're like, I'm becoming a nutrition coach to become a multimillionaire.
Right.
And like my startup, like when I started was like, I just didn't want to work in a cubicle. So I was like, I'm just going to make my money like doing this. I never had visions of being like, you know, making 8 figures, making 9 figures.
Yeah.
Like, that was not who I was. Yeah. I think that high performers are high performers and you realize what's possible and like whatever. But yeah, man, like I think, and I think you're going through this, at least from what I see and what we talk about, is like you're just doing the shit that you want to do. And like the reality is like you're successful. Like you, no matter, dude, I tell everyone, put us like outside, like let's go down to the fucking nail shops and win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. Like put us wherever, we're gonna win because it's who we are at the core.
Yeah.
And like that's what we have to remember is like you the person, like you have this success in you, like you have this like drive, but like none of it gets to come out unless you're doing the shit you want to do.
Right.
So,
dude, I'm glad you brought that up because it's funny too because you know because we both know Alex and like we know how he is. It's such an interesting relationship because I have that personal relationship with him, but a lot of the stuff he has said, it's so much easier, I guess, for me to consume that and believe it because of who he is, right? Because I don't know if it was for you, but when I was younger, people would say, "Oh, money isn't everything else." I'm like, "Yeah, you're just broke." Like, you know, you're broke. Amen, dude. Shut up. Like, you're old. You don't know what you're talking about. And so it's funny to see that come full circle for you as well because once I got back and I just started serving again, I was like, wow, like my days are so much better. And a lot of it is just your mindset about what's happening, right? Like something bad could be happening in your business, and part of you goes, "Oh my gosh, I have to fix this again. You're so stupid. What the." And then the other part of you, when it's just serving, it's like, hey, dude, you know what? This is probably my fault because I didn't show you what to do. And it's just completely different outcome.
Different.
That's
and it's funny because, you know, you say that. And like, I definitely had that epiphany too. Like as I was coming up, people were like, oh, like, don't worry about money. And I'm like, yeah, like, of course I'm worrying about money. Like,
that's
you know, and like,
I was poor. That's why I started.
But before we started this though,
it was just
we
a love for fitness.
Well, we were talking about like, yo, like we both recently downsized, like, and like downsizing life and like the things, because it's like, I don't give a shit who you are as an entrepreneur. If you come up and you make it, like you're gonna get the things. And even Alex got the things. Like got the house and like, and it didn't mean as much to him as it did to like Layla, but they had to like learn that. And I think that everyone has to learn that. Yeah. And so that's honestly like one of the things I see missing in the business coaching space right now is, first of all, I don't think anybody earns their way wealthy. And so I think that there's a lot of like misguidedness. There's a lot of like disillusion in our space that like, oh, your business is your vehicle. And it's like, no. The profit from your business and the way you deploy that profit is your real vehicle to success.
Correct.
But like, it's, I had to learn that, dude. Like we were talking about cars before this, bro. And I'm like, literally, I feel like I go in cycles with that because like there's times where like I'll see like a really big house. I'm like, yeah, like I want that house. And then there's like a Ferrari, and I'm like, I want the Ferrari. And then, I'll get them, and then I'm like, like whatever, just sell it real quick. Like I had a McLaren for like 5 months.
Yeah.
And I drove it like 3 times. Yeah. like Britt called it my Starbucks car. Right? She's like, you just drive it to Starbucks. And I was like that's it.
The coffee.
That's it, bro. Yeah. But I go to Starbucks daily. So it's like, that's it.
So you have a daughter,
yep.
right? I'm curious because, like, for the younger guys who are maybe super driven, very much maybe like you, they want to build businesses. Like, what have you learned from that? Because that's probably a big question I hear from a lot of young guys. Like, should I have a family? Should I not be a family? Should I just go and be single and just conquer the world? Like, I'm curious from your viewpoint. Like, what have you learned from that situation? What advice would you give to the young guys out there?
So many things. So first of all, I love being a dad. I never knew I would love it as much as I did. I just, there's like a level of love that you can't speak into existence until you experience it. Like no words I say would do it justice. But every moment that I spend with her is the best. But you learn a lot, man, and it's a sacrifice. And so I think that first you learn patience, because the minute you have a child, you no longer come first, ever. And so like a lot of people realize like I'm divorced. And so like when I was married, she had kids. And so I learned the role of step parent before I learned the role of parent. And inside of step parent, I learned you don't come first. And so like I remember I was like weird. And I was like literally like put food on the table for other people before I put food on the table for me, which was like, what the f- am I do? Like it just felt weird. And like that may seem insignificant to some people, but like when you're used to doing things a certain way and having things like on command, and all of a sudden it's like I don't have these things on command anymore. Like I have to do something else first. It's a big shift in your life. And so I learned patience, but I think you also realize that like nothing is that serious. Like at the end of the day, dude, we could make 0 sales. We could have 100 sales calls and go 0 for 100. And at the end of the night, my daughter's going to look at me before I go to bed and she's going to say, I love you.
Yeah.
And like, it changes everything. And so you just realize it's not that fucking serious. Like we're playing a game that is significantly longer than any of us realize.
Yeah.
And it's a game that will live on when we die. And because my daughter's going to live on beyond when I'm on this planet. And like, I think it just helps with outlook. I think it gives purpose to things. Like I definitely like, I want my family taken care of far more than I give a shit about myself. Like I admittedly, like I don't give a shit about anything that I have or I need. Like it's 100% for my family. But I think that like it forces you to grow up pretty quick, man. And I don't want to say I was immature, but I think like looking back, because I actually felt very mature. I think looking back, I had a lot of immaturities, and I think that I'm slowly growing past them. I mean, my daughter's 5; she'll be 6 in February. But like, yeah, maybe I'm just finally becoming an adult at 39. Like, I don't know.
There's I don't know what the saying is, but I feel like every 3 to 4 years I look back and go, man, I was a dumbass.
Yeah, 100%.
I was so immature. I was so egotistical.
Yeah.
It's.
But I think that that's good, man. Like I think I think we have to learn that, because I pray with everything in me, and my daughter goes through that.
Yeah.
I hope every 3 or 4 years she can look back and truly look at her behavior and not be judgmental, but just look at it like objectively and be like, man, that was pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Like not be very subjective day to day, but just be like, all right, like I learned, I'm going to grow. Because if my daughter does that, like she's going to be successful. Yeah. And if I just teach her to be blind to any amount of evolution in her life, then she's just going to take whatever life takes her. And so I think it's good. Like I think that it's why you're a very good entrepreneur. It's why you're so successful, because you do have the ability to look back, objectively analyze things and be like, cool, I sucked at this. I need to make this change, but I'm also great at these things. And I need to do more of these things. I think that that's massively important.
I think it's ironic. It's almost, once you're about to die, you'll probably be just ready to live a good life. Like, oh, now I have enough experience, then you die. It's very interesting.
I woke up 3 weeks ago one morning and I was like, how old am I? I literally questioned how old I was. I was like, am I 39 or am I 38? I couldn't remember. I swear to God. And like, I didn't do drugs the night before. Like, I didn't drink the night before. I didn't do drugs the night before. But I was like, all right, so I started counting the years. I'm like, all right, I'm 39, right? And then I was like, fuck. And I like went through this like mini midlife crisis. I was like, 39. I'm like, my dad just, he died last year. And
Oh, I'm
like
sorry to hear
he was
that.
77. And I was like, I've lived maybe half my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have only half my life left. And I was like, I don't feel like I've done that much. And I was like, I should probably start doing better. And it was like, I thought it was just like a moment. Bro, it festered for a good like week or two. And I was like, and so like that statement of like when you get to the end of the life, you're probably just starting to be ready to live a good life. I'm like, yeah, I need to do that earlier.
Yeah.
And like it's been on my mind a lot. Like it's been on my mind a ton. Honestly, part of it was the catalyst for the moves that we're making. Like it solidified that. Like it's been kind
Yeah.
of in me for like
Yeah.
6 months, but it was like, all right, go. Like
Yeah.
rip the Band-Aid off, go.
Oh, I
And
love that, man.
so yeah, like I did, that hits harder than you realize.
You wrote 2 books, right?
Yep.
So you have 2 books. So just quickly for the audience, like what are those books about?
Yeah. So they were admittedly, one of them was a massive cash grab in my business. And one of them was just kind of like foundational, like putting my first business on the map. So macros explained, macros applied. So I think that the first one was, I just thought that like the notion of macros in the space at the time was massively misunderstood. I thought there was a connotation between flexible dieting and if it fits your macros. I thought if it fits your macros was very like immature, like I want to put Pop-Tarts in my macros and claim that I'm healthy. Like, no, sorry. So like I was just trying to like create clarity, right? Like there was nothing other than like information distribution. And like I think that, at the time, my company was very new to the CrossFit space.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody in 2012, I was the most hated nutritionist in CrossFit. In 2013, I was the most loved nutritionist in CrossFit. And so in 2012, I went in and like, Rob Wolf was the guy and paleo was the thing and zone was okay. And I was like, y'all are fucking stupid. I'm like, this shit is terrible for CrossFit. And I'm like, people need carbs. Like people need fucking carbohydrate, like glycolytic exercise, carbohydrate fuels it, massive central nervous system demands, massive cortisol surges. We need, glucose or, we need like an insulin spike to attenuate the cortisol response. I'm like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need carbs. And everyone's like, oh no, like paleo. And I'm like, y'all are right. And so like the next year, I had like 8 out of the 10 best athletes in CrossFit, right? And everyone's like, all right, like maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. And so like, and I became a name in CrossFit. And so that's why I wrote that book. The second one is when I was like, all right, like I'm going to try this internet marketing thing and we're going to launch a book and like see how it goes. Yeah. And I made a lot of money, but it was awful. Like if I ever did it again that way, like please punch me in the face. Like it was, I was writing the final chapter 90 minutes before the fucking funnel went live. And like my team was blowing, they're like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, guys, I'm trying. I was like, I'm the single biggest procrastinator in the world. I'm like literally trying. And we ended up doing really well. Like the funnel did quite well. There was a couple upsells and it was just like, I think I had just learned about Russell Brunson. I think and I was like, I want to try it. But honestly, man, it turned into be something pretty dope because then I recorded like an audio book. I met, Paul Getter and James Starr. I started being really successful on webinars. And so like we took the audio book plus some other old and like we turned it into this funnel. Dude, I actually liquidated all of my front end spend to get, I was literally 100% liquidated to get sales calls.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
And now like knowing what I know, I'm like, why didn't I empty the bank account? Like I should have just kept going. But, so yeah, it was cool, man. Like it was a fun experience, but I wouldn't say, although I do have a book I'm writing right now and I've scrapped it twice because I can't figure out a subject that's like makes a lot. Like I had a business one almost done. Like we were 90% done. And I'm working with like a publishing company that self-publishes and they hate me right now because they're like, can we please finish this book? Because I got 90% done. I'm like, it just doesn't align. I don't like it. Like, and I'm like, scrap it. Like, sorry. Like, I know we've recorded like 8 hours of audio, but like, we're done. Like, I'm out. And so, I think they respect the notion that like I want it to be a legacy for myself, but I also think that they're like, yo, like we need to get this book done. So, if anyone has a book title that they think I should do, they should let me know because I don't know what I'm going to write.
It was so, well, and it's funny about writing the book because I wrote a book a few years ago and kind of like what you said, it was more just, hey, it's a funnel and all that. And, I remember talking to Alex right before he blew up on social media, right before, like he had like 3,000 subs on YouTube. I had a bigger YouTube than him. Anyways.
I remember this.
And I remember when his book came out and he just did so well. And I think I always send him these texts and I don't know how he responds to you, but he'll always send me, very short answers, but it's just very
poignant.
pointed. And I was like, dude, why did your book do so well? And he was like, yeah, I did like 19 revisions. And I'm sitting there like, and I spent, probably couple months. And he spent 2 years, and it's those little lessons that also, it just reminds us like the level, and he talks about it, the level to get to great is just like you have to put 100% more effort to get 10% more result, right? And that's kind of the difference between good and great. And so
I also think it speaks to intent. I think Alex is massively intentional with everything he does.
Yeah.
And I think I looked at that book and it was a joke, right? Yeah. So now it's like, all right, cool. Like he's laid the blueprint of like, what does it mean to be really successful? Mm-hmm. And I think everybody looks at the transactional actions he puts out, the marketing, the sales, the books, the like the things he does, but what you don't see and what we get to see being in the network is it's like, yo, those things have been done repeatedly with massive intent and massive effort for years.
Yeah.
Not what people see on the front end.
Yeah.
And I think that's what no one wants to see because it's hard. It's fucking hard to do.
It's not sexy.
It's hard to do something for 2 years and see no immediate return. Yeah. Like, I don't care who you are, but like, it's worth it.
Yeah, delaying the result. Bro, this went exactly how I thought it would go. I loved it. I got goosebumps just from talking to you. Dude, because I genuinely just wanted to do this to talk to people that maybe gave them an excuse to be like, hey, look, let's do a podcast, give you an excuse. So for anyone listening, like where can they find your stuff? How they can connect? Like what are your websites?
Yeah, so Nutritional Coaching Institute on Instagram. That's the big one, right? Because we're all about getting people certified now. And then they can hit me NCI_CEO_Jason on Instagram. It's a weird name because I've been hacked so many times that I just had to do something that people wouldn't want to replicate. So sorry, it's fucking weird in advance. But yeah, I mean, hit me. Like I run all my own socials. Like I don't have VAs or anything like that. I literally run all my own shit. So send me a DM, tell me what's up. Like, let me know how I can help you. I'm here to do it. I'm not selling any high ticket coaching, so I'm not going to sell you anything.
There you go.
I just want to help, man. Like that's the mission.
Well, dude, thanks for being here.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having me,
you so much.
Yeah,
and it was an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
Bye-bye.